What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Chef, and we are back. You already know what time it is. It is time for episode number 51 of the YAK pod. We are moving right along. Now, we got a few things to get into today. But before we go ahead and get into that, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and subscribe. Hit that little button down there. Smash the like button. Turn on your notifications. Do all the sharing and the wonderful social media stuff, because when you do that, it gets the algorithm on my side. And if you are enjoying this content, you definitely want the algorithm on my side. Let's go ahead and get right to it. We're going to be talking about T'Vondre Sweat. Now, is this a Lions topic per se? Yes, no, maybe so, right? The Lions supposedly didn't have too much interest in one T'Vondre Sweat, and people wondered why. He's a huge man. He's a space eater, player of the year in the Big 12, all that stuff. So why were the Lions not more interested? And then, of course, he had that play in the Senior Bowl, that highlight everyone was talking about, and that's how he kind of launched onto the scene. So why were the Lions not interested? Well, this past weekend, he was arrested for driving while intoxicated. Now, we have the details of the situation. It is a bit strange as far as the other person involved. We have Sweat 22 was booked Sunday afternoon into Travis County Jail, according to online records, after being arrested by Austin police. He faces a Class B misdemeanor, which in Texas carries a fine of up to $2,000 and 180 days in jail. Now, we know he's not going to do jail time because these players who are entering the draft have lawyers, and they have agents, and agents know lawyers and things of this nature, and it almost never happens. Now, Austin police responded to a crash between an SUV and a sedan at 4:41 a.m. Sunday on Interstate 35. Sweat, who drove the SUV, was arrested for driving while intoxicated, while the driver of the sedan left the scene on foot immediately after the crash. Now, that's the strange part. Hey, man, maybe he had warrants. Maybe the car wasn't insured. I don't know. But, leaving your car after you're in a crash is strange. Just ask Rasheed Rice. Anyway, Sweat was released from jail after posting bond. His attorney declined to comment on the incident when asked by KXAN TV. The 6'4", 362-pound Sweat declared for the NFL draft after helping Texas on his first to its first college football playoff appearance. He had 2 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 7 quarterback hurries, 4 pass breakups, and 45 total tackles last season. Sweat won the Outland Trophy as the nation's top interior lineman. Now, I don't drink, but I do know that a large man has to have a lot of alcohol to be drunk. When we look exactly at the average blood alcohol content in men by their weight, after 6 drinks at 100 pounds, a man would reach a blood alcohol content of 0.12. By drinking 3 drinks in less than 1 hour or 4 drinks over 2 hours, a man of 100 pounds would take 6 drinks to be drunk, 3 drinks in less than an hour, or 4 drinks over 2 hours. T'Vondre Sweat is almost 4 times that amount. So currently he's at 362 pounds. 4 times 6 is 24. 3 drinks in less than 1 hour, that would be 12 drinks. 4 drinks over 2 hours, that would be 16 drinks. Give or take. Give or take. We don't know the exact amount of drinks that he had, but for him to be driving while intoxicated and to crash into another human being, well, not directly into a human being, into another car, he had to have a massive amount of alcohol in his system to be inebriated to the point where you are getting into car accidents. Now, here's the thing. This is why it's more of a situation why the Lions probably were not interested. What is the decision making? They do these interviews and these top 30 visits and things of this nature, and that's why these things are so important. And I don't think he was on the list of top 30 visits. And if he's not on the list of top 30 visits, we can understand why he's not on the list of top 30 visits. Decision making. As I detailed, 24 drinks, 12 drinks in an hour, 16 drinks over 2 hours. These are the types of amounts that we're talking about with a man who is almost 4 times heavier than a 100-pound man. Where is the decision making? Like, what is the process? What is the thought process behind this? To go out and have that much to drink, and you are literal weeks away from the draft. The draft is the 25th of April. Today is the 8th of April. That is less than 3 weeks. That is less than 3 weeks. If you're going to party, if you're going to celebrate, what are you celebrating when you haven't been drafted yet? Is there something else going on? There's a lot of things that go on in people's lives that we are not privy to. We do not know if he's dealing with depression. We do not know what is happening. But it is concerning for a person to go out and drink the amount that he would have had to drink and then still get behind the wheel of a car. So at no point did he decide he was drinking too much. At no point did he decide that he needed to call an Uber or he needed to have a designated driver or any of these things. At no point did he decide that these things were important or necessary. And then he goes out and gets into an accident with another car. Now, it doesn't appear that the person was injured because they left on foot immediately after. And again, that's strange. But this is what happened. So, in the broader context of what it means for the Detroit Lions, anybody that wanted Jalen Carter last season, and he had his issues with lying to the police after racing, and one of his teammates was killed, and a staffer from the University of Georgia. She was the one driving after leaving a club. And the 2 people in the other car who died apparently were drunk. Jalen Carter was not drunk. But even while sober, he decided to not tell the truth to the police, obviously, because people died. So he obviously wanted to kind of exonerate himself and distance himself from the incident. We have the situation with Rashee Rice, who was already in the NFL, and he decided to drive fast, racing. Again, no alcohol was involved. as far as we know. There was some marijuana found in the car. Who knows? But this is why Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and Sheila Ford Hamp and Chris Spielman and all the people that are making the decisions are not really like that. That's why we have a thing called a Brad Holmes guy. And some people, some of the fans give him a lot of crap, and they're like, oh, we don't want choir boys, we want this, that, and the third thing. And that's cool. I want a dude who's mean and nasty on the football field, but I also want a dude that's able to function properly off of it. Everybody likes to have a good time, all these things, but at the end of the day, like, your decision-making process on and off the field is something that's going to be very important to Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. It's going to be very important because lives are at stake. If we are not careful with what we're doing off the field, these types of things lead to injury of other people. They lead to death of other people. And that's not something that Brad Campbell wants. Yes, I said Brad Campbell. Again, Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell. I just put it together. It's Brad Campbell. Okay. Sometimes it's just too much saying both of their names. It's Brad Campbell. That's all we need. So this is not something that Brad Campbell wants. I used to write for a publication, sports, of course, and I had I don't remember, it was a long time ago, but I don't remember the name of it. Basically, it was kind of like the prison series, you know what I mean? Just chronicling all the things, and it was during the off season. All of the things that you find of players being involved in police incidents. Obviously, we had Greg Hardy, we had Ray Rice, we had Cam Sutton, we had the Ray Lewis incident. We've had so many incidents. So with Brad Campbell, guys, we're trying not to have those incidents. And we're trying not to have people that are going to distract from what we're trying to accomplish on the field. We're trying not to have people that are going to bring negative press and negative attention to the team. That is why we have Brad Campbell guys. That's why. And if you're watching a clip of this, or you're saying, yes, I'm saying Brad Campbell on purpose. I know it is two people. I know it is Brad Holmes, GM, and Dan Campbell, head coach. I know this, but I'm saying Brad Campbell on purpose, just like Quinn Trisha. Okay, which I don't get the credit for coining that phrase, because at the time I didn't have a podcast, so someone took it and ran with it. Not sure who, but I feel like I coined the phrase. I know I was the first person that I heard say it. So maybe someone else said it. But anyway, this is the thing that we're trying to avoid. Because not only do you put lives at risk off of the field, you put your teammates at risk on the field, because now you're not going to be there for them. Prime example, Cam Sutton. Prime example. Poor decision that Cam Sutton made to run, and then he got a misdemeanor. I was baffled. I'm like, this man's been on the run for a month, and he got a misdemeanor. He was on the run for a month, turned himself in after being on the run for a month, and got out the next day under his own reconnaissance and got charged a simple misdemeanor. Now, we just saw that the misdemeanor that Tavondre Sweat was charged with was a maximum $2,000 fine and possibly 180 days in jail. Up to 180 days. That's the maximum. I don't think he's gonna do either one of those things. He'll pay a fine, but it probably won't be the maximum fine. You know, like I said, agents and lawyers but had Cam Sutton, now again, if Cam Sutton is guilty of what he was charged with, I don't understand how he'd be guilty of what he's charged with when the police were like, oh, he's going to have to pay for his gruesome acts. They were categorized as gruesome, but you let him out of prison. You let him out of jail after a few hours. It was like he got processed. They put him in jail clothes, took the mugshot. You're free to go, Mr. Sutton. So that leads me to like ask the question, how gruesome were his acts? What actually happened? Like I said, we don't want to minimize the victim. And if he did do those things, he should be punished. But a misdemeanor is not what I was expecting. Even if it's just for wasting the police's time and resources. Had that been one of us, we'd still be in jail. You know, with a public defender and all that other stuff, we'd be in jail and we'd probably do some major time. You know, you probably have 5-10 years or something. And just because the police are pissed off because you made them chase you. You made them look for you. You made them search. You made them work. And they're upset about that. You know, so again, I don't understand how he got a misdemeanor, but moving on. So we had that situation, and then we also had PFT. When I used to read PFT, I don't anymore. I haven't for quite some time. Whenever you be in the comment section and you would say something that Mike Florio didn't agree with, your comment would mysteriously disappear. It would not get posted. So that was years ago, probably 10 years ago that I stopped dealing with PFT. But when I was dealing with PFT, they had a police blotter type of section where it was like however many days without an incident. They had a tracker. They had a tracker. Yeah. It's like how many days without an incident. And I think it finally got to like something below, and maybe they removed it. I don't know. But again, like, so when we are looking at guys who are not Brad Campbell guys, we can pretty much understand it now. You know, everyone was up in arms about Jalen Carter. But then it's just like, you see with this Cam Sutton situation, fortunately, Jalen Carter has kept his nose clean. And hopefully he'll continue to keep his nose clean, and he won't be in any more situations. And he won't be racing, and there won't be alcohol involved and all of these things. Hopefully he's learned his lesson, which is great. You know, some people learn their lesson, but 2 people died. 2 people died in a senseless accident. You know, so it taking someone to die to learn your lesson is a pretty steep price to pay for you to come to your senses. And that's the type of element that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are trying to keep off of this team. Again, not everyone has to have someone die to learn their lesson. These are young men. He's 22. His brain is not even completely developed yet. That's another thing that we have to realize. You have big, powerful, strong young men whose brains are not completely fully developed yet, playing a violent sport. Sometimes they make bad choices, but sometimes those choices lead to really dire consequences. And this is what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell do not want on their football team. And I commend them for it. We've seen too many times players being unavailable because of these things. We've seen too many times players bringing distractions to their teams for illegal or criminal activity. I mean, look at the Deshaun Watson situation. That was a whole thing in the media. Whole thing. Houston is better off now. That's the good thing for Houston. They're better off now. They've got an excellent quarterback over there, and I never say that. I've never had the opportunity to say that about an Ohio State quarterback. Oh, hell no state. It's like I like to call it. I've never had the opportunity to say that. So now I have the opportunity to say that about CJ Stroud. And I was wrong about CJ Stroud. Because I was like, man, the next great Ohio State, the next great oh hell no state quarterback I see will be the first one. CJ Stroud just might be the first one. But it couldn't beat Michigan. Go blue. Anyway, guys, that is all the time that I have for today. If you agree with anything that I've said, let me know in the comments. If you do not agree with anything that I've said, let me know in the comments. Let me know in general. If you are part of the Bulge Army, you want to come and say something, hey, be my guest. The more, the merrier. Let's get this engagement popping. And if you did not subscribe on the way in, let's get you to subscribe on your way out. If you didn't smash that like button on the way in, let's get you to smash that like button on the way out. If you didn't share on the way in, let's get you to share on the way out. But if you did subscribe, if you did smash the like button, if you did share on your way in, I appreciate you. If you already subscribed and you're coming back, I appreciate you. And we are here every Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern. As always, until next time,